let's get into it. Today we're doing a deep dive into, well, a really fascinating case study. It's all about creative power versus, big budgets. Our theme is basically, how do you make something really impactful with almost no money?
That's the big question, yeah. And we're looking at it through the lens of a 2012 review. It's from Moviescramble, written by John McArthur. And he zeroes in on this one independent animated short film. It's called The Chase. Really something.
Right. So our mission here is to unpack what this film, this tiny, highly praised project, tells us about smart storytelling, about artistic vision, and frankly, technical skill when you just don't have the cash. We're kind of looking for the secrets to doing amazing work on a shoestring.
And it's the perfect example, honestly. I mean, constraint, breeding, creativity. Before we even get into the story itself, you need to hear this one fact. It really sets the stage. The Chase. It's a 13-minute animated short from 2012.
Took 8 months.
8 months of work.
Okay.
And the budget. Get this. $700.
$700. Wow. Okay. That's not just low budget. That's basically nothing in film terms, like maybe the cost of some software or, like lunch for the team for a bit.
Exactly.
And the source review really nails why short films are so important, right? MacArthur points out they're like the ultimate proving ground. A show reel for new talent, a place to try out new techniques, new tech, without needing millions. You put in the time, not the money.
Yeah, and that's where the challenge comes in, which The Chase really highlights. It's the format itself. You've only got, 13 minutes. You can't waste a single frame. It has to make sense immediately, grab you, and pack in all this information, the stakes. It's super compressed.
Narrative density, like you said. So, okay, with those limits, how did they use those 13 minutes? Let's talk plot, because it shows that efficiency perfectly. It's about a contract hit, right? But it goes sideways almost immediately.
Right. The hitman's there, he's all set, and boom, phone rings. Job's canceled. Think about that one call. It tells you his job, where he is, the tension, and then flips his whole goal on its head instantly. He's got to get out, not take someone out.
But the target's already suspicious. The review calls him a scary-looking dude. And he knows something's up. He's onto the hitman. So the escape plan, it involves this pretty desperate rooftop chase, which predictably doesn't end well. Leads to a confrontation down on the street.
And that confrontation gets complicated fast because the scary dude, he's carrying this briefcase. And MacArthur points out this briefcase catches the eye of a couple of hoodlums just passing by. They see the situation, the briefcase.
Easy pickings, right?
Exactly. They think it's a quick score.
So suddenly you've got this three-way thing happening. The hitman trying to escape, the target who's alert and has this case, and these two opportunistic guys jumping in. That's a lot of conflict packed into, maybe under 10 minutes? And it leads straight into violence. The setup is incredibly tight, no fat.
Which brings us back to that elephant in the room. The $700. You hear that number, you assume, okay, this is going to look rough, like student film rough. But the reviewer, he calls it a pretty special piece of work. So how does that compute? Low budget, high quality.
Well, that's where those 8 months come in, I think. That's the trade-off. Time instead of money. MacArthur suggests that time let them be meticulous. Put in the detail. The source says the characters and the settings are rendered well, which sounds like they really prioritize the polish, the look, over just getting it done quickly, deliberate choices.
And look at the characters themselves. It's interesting. The source notes, not one of the characters are what you would call attractive.
Right.
But that's not a criticism, is it? It feels like a conscious choice. They were going for pretty. They went for unique, memorable characters whose feelings come across just through how they move.
Exactly. If you can't afford super realistic rendering, you focus on style, on silhouettes that work, that tell the story visually. And it seems like the obsession with small details is what really lifts it.
Yeah, that's often the first thing to go when money's tight. Right? Background detail. But here, they seem to focus on it. MacArthur specifically mentions things like scratches on the briefcase or seeing pieces of shattered stone from a fight scene. Little things.
Wait, hold on. Scratches on a briefcase. Why is that important, I think? I think it shows respect to the audience, If you're asking people to buy into this animated world for 13 minutes, every little texture, every chip, it adds weight. It makes it feel solid, lived in, even if the style isn't realistic. That kind of detail. That just takes time and effort, not cash.
That's the trade-off, perfectly put.
Yeah.
Time for fidelity. 8 months let them handcraft those little bits of realism.
Okay, now for maybe the boldest choice they made. And we really need to dig into this. The Chase has 0 dialogue. None. Not a single word spoken by anyone for the whole 13 minutes.
Which is kind of brilliant when you think about it. From a production standpoint, why do that? Well, dialogue means voice actors, good recording gear, syncing it all up, maybe translation if you want to send it to festivals.
Right. Costs and complications.
By cutting dialogue, they just sliced away a whole chunk of potential problems and expenses instantly.
Okay, but then how do you tell this story? An intense thriller with no talking. McArthur gives the answer. He points to the quite superb sound design.
Exactly. In a film with no dialogue, sound becomes, well, everything. It's not just background noise. It is the narrative. Footsteps tell you if someone's rushing or sneaking. The thud of that briefcase hitting the ground, that conveys its importance. Sound carries the tension, the emotion, the weight.
Yeah, it turns it from just moving pictures into something you really feel. And that approach clearly worked on a higher level because the reviewer made a pretty bold comparison. McArthur said it plays a little like a Tarantino film.
Which is huge praise for a $700 short. But he breaks down why. It's not just violence. It's about structure, about tension. He pointed out 4 things specifically that give it that kind of, crime thriller feel.
Okay, let's list them. First, that briefcase.
Yeah.
It's the MacGuffin, right? The mysterious thing everyone's after.
Mm-hmm.
Second, there's a martial arts fight scene thrown in. High energy.
Right. Third, bringing in those hoodlums. That complicates things beyond just the hitman versus the target, adds another layer.
And fourth, the tense shootout.
Yeah. These are all ways to build drama and complexity really quickly without needing long speeches. It's action, recognizable situations. It keeps you hooked.
And the way it was filmed, the techniques also feed into that not a single moment wasted idea. The review mentioned the camera work was really inventive, moving around the shots creatively.
In short films, you don't have time for lazy shots. Every camera move needs to push the story forward or show off the animation or ramp up the tension. It's visual choreography driving the pace.
So what the film really did was showcase the talent involved. It was the perfect showreel, like you said earlier. The reviewer basically wraps up by saying, these creators have great futures.
They definitely earned it. The key names mentioned were the director, Thomas Vergara,
Okay.
the music and effects wizard, Jay Taylor, obviously crucial for that amazing sound design that carried everything, and the character animator, Mauricio Galvez. Making something this polished for $700 in 8 months. That speaks volumes about their skill and focus.
And the final verdict from the review, pretty clear. McArthur said The Chase put some major films to shame with its ideas and execution, and that it's simply a very good way to spend 13 minutes. High praise indeed.
So what's the big takeaway here for you listening? It's not just, oh, low-budget films can be okay. It's that constraints can actually force excellence in specific ways. The team behind The Chase, they couldn't throw money at problems, so they focused. They excelled in visual detail, unique character design, and crucially, used that superb sound design to sidestep the need for dialogue.
Yeah, it's a fantastic example of how smart ideas and just painstaking focused work can beat a huge budget, especially when you embrace the limits. If an 8-month, $700 animation can get compared to major movies, it shows that limitations aren't just obstacles. They can actually guide you to better, more inventive solutions.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you. If you know you can't compete on budget or scale in whatever you're doing, what's your specialized area? Where can you invest the time, not the money, to make something truly high quality? Finding that strength, that focus, that's how deliberate limitation leads to success.
Think about finding your own version of that superb sound design, that specific skill or approach you can master when resources are tight. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.